Hey YouTube, Skipper T here. I want to just do a quick video on my Schrade SCHF 37. This was one of the Frontier series that came out in the early part of 2015. What I'll do now is I'll bring it in close and I'll show you the modifications I did, because I ground most of this stuff off here just to make it comfortable. So let me get it in close so that you guys can see the mods that I've made. Stay with me. Okay guys, here we are. This is the Schrade SCHF 37. And what I've done was, as I mentioned before, is I took the old coating that came off, or came with the knife. It was like a truck bed liner. It was thick. It had like beads in it. Created some resistance when cutting and doing feather sticking and fine carving tasks. So I stripped all that off. I removed the scales and everything, stripped everything off. Hit this with some 440 sandpaper, or correction, 220 sandpaper, wet dry. Got the remnants off, turned around, came back behind it with a 400 grit. And then I applied 4 or 5 coats of gun bluing on here. And I think it has really made the knife look a lot better. Looks more like what a blade should look like, with a smoother finish on it. Now it is a Schrade, so it's an inexpensive knife. But it is just, you know, right at a 1/4 inch, maybe slightly less. 1095 carbon steel, so you have to put some kind of a coating on it, and I think the gun bluing worked out very well. The other thing I did, and this was a big complaint everybody had, and they later came out with a different version, I think it's the 54, same blade except for the fact that they took the handle and they flattened it out, took this little curvature here that goes kind of in between your first 2 fingers, and made that a square. Straight off back here they took this crazy jimping. You can see I've left a little bit of the dimpling in there, primarily because it was difficult on my grinder to follow this curve. On the top, where it's a straighter portion, they had jimping in there as well, but I ground that down pretty much all the way and made that a smooth surface, and I rounded off this thumb hump here a little bit. I think they call them a thumb ramp, so that it would just be a lot more comfortable. Doesn't hurt your fingers. You don't have to wear gloves. Now when I do a chopping exercise with this, I don't have to worry about this jimping back here tearing my hands up, because even with a good set of leather gloves on, this was painful in just very short order with the jimping. I understand what they were trying to do with the grip on it, but with these TPE handles on here, they're kind of a somewhat soft rubberized type material. I mean, it's firm to the touch, but when you're cutting, when you're chopping, you know, you're doing various things with this particular blade, it actually absorbs shock so very well. It's amazing. I actually like this. I know a lot of folks like the G10 that's out there, but I happen to like the TPE. I'm also what you might call a Schrade fanboy, as much as I hate to admit being a fanboy to anything, but I've got about 10 or 15 of these knives. And the reason I have so many is because they're so dirt cheap to buy. I think this 37 now, which was the first generation Bushcraft series, the 36, the 37, and the 38 all came out at the same time in early 2015. I have the 36 and the 38. 38's okay. It's more tactical in my opinion than Bushcraft, but that's a matter of opinion. The 36 has got a 4.5 inch blade, where this is about a 6.5 inch cutting surface, 7 inches altogether. But I love the 36. It is so small, balanced so well, but it still has the truck bed lining on it. Maybe I'll shoot the video when I take it off, grind down all the jimping here, because it has it here. The handles are exactly the same. But I wanted the big knife just because it's more versatile, so I started with it. But as you can see, I think that bluing really turned out nice on this blade. I think it looks really sharp. I'm working on getting the edge back on this thing with my tool sharpener out there. Still a little dull right in this first section here, but boy, out here, I tell you what, that's hair popping sharp. You got to be careful. The other thing I like about Schrade, they come with a cheesy sheath. Yes, everybody knows this, but I got to tell you what, you know, it works. It serves its purpose. Will I upgrade to a nice leather one, or maybe a Kydex? Sure, at some point in the future when I save up enough money to buy one. Especially since when you buy this knife, and currently on Amazon they're running anywhere from about $27 to $34, and I mean, Jesus, you can't beat the price. Considering it comes with a sharpening stone, this is a diamond stone. This will help you get that edge back when you're out in the field. Just get your bevel going. Just lovely. Now, this is not a good rendition because actually I would set this down and do it a different way. Also comes with a ferrocerium rod here. I have not used this one, but I've used them out of the 36 and a couple other blades that I have. They work great. They're not as big as I like. I like the 1/2 inch by 6 inch ones. But for something in a budget starting knife, and literally something you could walk out into the wilderness with and frankly never have to worry about, God, for the price point, you can't beat this knife. But anyway, guys, these are the mods that I've made. These are the things that I've done. I have not taken any of the handle off. It does rise up slightly here on the top portion. Not sure if you guys be able to see the shadowing on that. But I thought, you know, do I hit it with a Dremel and make it the same size, or do I leave it where it is? For now, I'm going to leave it where it is. It does kind of give me a, I don't know, a little bit of a side-to-side grip. We'll see how the TPE handle holds up on that. If I have to, then I'll Dremel that out a little bit. The bottom side stays the same. Again, just so you guys can see, I did leave a little bit of the jimping in there, just the dimples primarily. But overall, absolutely fantastic knife. If you're on a budget and you're looking for a good solid 6 inch or larger blade, and you want something that's in the budget or the economy version, guys, you can't go wrong with a Schrade. Honest to God, like I said, I've got 15 of them, and the reason I have 15 of them is because I can buy and afford to buy multiple blades. Some of these other ones that are out on the market, $150 through $300, yeah, it's probably better steel. It's, you know, maybe the handles are micarta or something that's a little bit different, although you can get this with the micarta handles on it, or that maybe the G10. Still, for, you know, a $200 knife, I can buy 8 of these, you know, maybe 5 of them, and thus that's why I have so many. But again, guys, good economy knife, solid 1/4 inch steel, 1095 carbon steel on there. You can't go wrong. It'll strike a ferrocerium rod like nobody's business. It'll peel stuff off of your fingernail, no problem. I did sharpen this back when I was dressing the blade and getting ready to put the coating on it. But again, guys, super simple modification. Took me a couple hours to do it. So if you've got one of these and you don't like all that jimping, well, take it all apart, get busy, clean this thing up. I personally like this little loop right here. Gives it a solid feel in my hand, keeps the blade from twisting this way. A round handle or a square handle kind of has that tendency to move around in one's grip. But because of this little rise right here, to me it feels solid. I don't have an issue with it. Tends to fall in between my fingers. Okay, not the best, but okay. I have a medium hand. And again, that just seems to, even where it turns up here, seems to fit my medium hand pretty good. I love the finger choil on it. That way you can get down and do some of the finer carving tasks that you've got out there. Try not to take my fingernail off, but... So anyway, guys, great knife, budget oriented, 30-something bucks, or right at $30 on Amazon. You cannot go wrong with this particular knife. Thanks again, guys. Remember, keep your eyes open, keep your heads up, and we'll see you outside.